Everybody, I know I did a video yesterday, but I get these questions every once in a while, so I thought I'd do a video that's just about the ultimate shipyard. And that's the only thing we're going to talk about today. I'm sort of going to walk you through where it is, how to use it, some of the neat features of it that you might not know about. So first of all, this is where it is, bp.tel4u.gr. Now, it does not work in Internet Explorer. It does work in Chrome, Firefox, Opera, basically anything but Internet Explorer. That's the first thing that catches people, because the default browser for most people's computers, if you've never downloaded something else, is Internet Explorer. That being said, I don't overly advise running Internet Explorer in Battle Pirate sometimes, because when the biggest problems I have with Internet Explorer is when Kingside does an update, it sometimes gets it hard to actually get Battle Pirates to load. You have to do a hard refresh a couple times to finally get it to load. So this guy wanted to use some special features of newer browsers, more modern browsers, and to do that means he can't use Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is just really not a modern browser. So this is the basic layout. These are your ships. This is the fleet. This is the one you're working on. When you see links, this is where you get it from. Now, one thing to note here, so if we build a couple ships, right? I am highlighted on the ship, therefore I have a link to the ship. So if you send that to somebody, you're sending them this by itself. If you want to send the whole fleet, you click on the fleet, so you see it, and now it's link to fleet. So now if you send them this, they're going to see all three. Okay, that's the first thing that catches people. Another thing, what was the other thing that catches people? That's actually, those are the two biggest things: getting it to come up and sending me the wrong links. So those are important. If you're going to stick it in the forums, this one's actually a better one to use. And if you're saving it for yourself, this one's actually a better one to use. I don't think it really stores much. Just make sure I don't see anything. I don't think he stores much on your local machine, so if you want to have a library of ships, you have to keep it yourself. So for example, if I just had a text file, notepad or something, and for this, notepad works perfect because I want to make sure I'm not introducing extra characters and crap. Because what I can do is I can take this, I can copy this, and you can come here and paste it, and I think it's click this button, and now it loads all the ships. So for example, people ask me all the time, what ships do I use for my auto cargo fleet that hits like 31s and 40s? Oh, this is it. It's 5 ships, 4 assault missiles, 2 hailstorms, lasers, fuel boosters. Armor is not important. That's really for a prepping basis, because sometimes I'll take this out to a base to prep if it calls for something like this. Couple important things about, so you're trying to figure out what you want to build, how long it's going to take. Look down here. It tells you the whole hold on a second. Tells you the whole all by itself, and then it tells you the components. So it gives you an overall time. That is if you're running Master Engineer. If you're not running Master Engineer, you really want to uncheck that. Typically, I only have one officer, so typically for the raids I run Master Fixer, and the rest of the time I run Master Engineer. So you can see what the difference is by having an officer, not having an officer. I really don't worry about last 5-minute bonus on building a ship, but I do worry about last 5-minute bonus on repairs. And then, so let's say we're building, let's reset this. Let's say we're building a Seawolf fleet that we want to be instant repair. Right, well, repairs are really based off of armor, so he's like, oh, well, we want event repair times, and we want last 5-minute bonus, and we want Master Fixer. With DU4, we're at 15 minutes and 18 seconds. That's not instant repair. Ah, well, what about this? DU1. Well, it's not instant repair, but now it's down to 40 seconds. So you can play with the different ones. So now you can get down to seeing that titanium is instant repair 1, titanium 2 is not, and steel, oh, which one is the steels? Steel 2 and titanium 1 I think are both instant repair. And they're very similar in armor weight too. I think actually steel 2 actually gives you slightly more armor. If you didn't have Master Fixer, then you're 30 seconds. And if it wasn't event times, you're looking at 5 minutes a ship. Or actually this one. 10 minutes a ship. 5 minutes and then speed up. So this is really useful to figure out if you know what are your repairs going to look like. They can do it where you actually get the resources. I've never really bothered with that. Yeah, repairs are gonna. I'm not going to build a ship based off of what the repairs are going to cost me. I build the ship based off of what the time is going to cost me. Sometimes, not all the time. Most of the time I will ignore that unless I want an instant repair fleet. Another thing that's important is to make sure your dock level is set. If you don't have a level 10 dock, then make sure you adjust it. Actually, now that I think about it, when I was putting together some of these, so like this is what I think a player that just started today should use for their first fleet. And they're not going to actually have dock 10. They're going to have dock 1. In that code will actually set your dock level. And it'll set all the settings. So that code has every setting, I think. So the very first player, the day one that they start, the first things that I think they should build is a set of gunboats with Havoc 1s. There's a lot of low-level cargo that you can kill with this until you actually hit the decent range missile ships. And the old style, I think it was like a level 17 and below, you could take out with gunboats, and you could get pretty far with that. And then what I would tell people to build is Predator subs. And by that time you probably have researched Havoc 2s, and you probably have researched Engine 1, because Engine 1 is one of the very first upgrades you can do. And then when you get to it, upgrade the torpedoes as you have time and as you have them researched. But you can start with 2s, go to 3s as soon as you can. 4s will actually be a little while before you get to it. So, and like for example here, it even knows that you can't have a sub as a flagship because it doesn't have a copy to. Because if you were allowed to, if you're allowed to stick it there, it would have a copy to button. So, and then if you want to wipe them all out, you hit the resub button and wipes them all out. You pick your ship. This is how you basically start. You pick your ship. So let's say we're going to build the base fleet, right? The defend fleet. So we're going to start with thuds. We're going to put some thuds up there. We're going to put some thuds up there. There's not really a faster way to do this part. But let's say you decide, oh, I don't actually want thuds. An easy way to remove stuff is to hold down the control key, and it says right here, I can't move my mouse because then you won't see it, but you see the bottom of that little box, control key to move the weapon. If I just hold down control, boom, 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 I can get rid of it very quickly. So I can put some of those back. I can put some armor on there. And I'm pretty much believing now that explosive armor on Goliath is the only thing worth having on these ships right now. You have to have hardened barrels, and this one's probably the negotiable one. If you really want to piss off mortars, do that. And then maybe do some of this or something. Oh, this would be quite the annoying ship. That would be a nice annoying ship. And then you can also have a rank, and your rank will help show up. See, turn speed 6. If I take the ranking off, turn speed 5, and then it also increases the firing speed. So you're going to see a reload of plus 25, and that's what this is showing you here. So if you want to see the difference between the different ranks, you can set that. But let's say, for example, you don't have this, you have DU4. I'm making an extreme example here. Let's say you got the Goliath, but you just don't ever do cargo, so you don't have any blueprints. So you have this, and you're kind of heavy. But you research Shipyard 2. 15% weight reduction for armor and guns of forsaken equipment, not everything. So now we did a 15% reduction. Now we're actually at a much more reasonable. Now if we just take off one of these or two, and now we're back to a reasonable ship. See. So that's there. If you want to wipe all of it out at one time, do the reset button. Another really interesting thing to do is if you are working on a refit to a set of ships that already exist and you just want to change some things, like for example, I had, show you this, let's see, boom, boom, I don't know which one that I clicked on. So this was, remember I had the 4 dread, the 2 dreads with the 4, I had this, I had this, I had this, and I had, oh, this, and then I had this, 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 and this, and I could fit like 2 of these suckers, right? So I actually wanted to change them to so I can have 4 in a fleet. So, but I wanted to see what the I know what I finally want. Actually, that's actually a bad example because I was also taking stuff off the ship. But let's say, for an example, you want to add things to a ship. You can do, if you click here and then do refit mode, it'll actually only show you the things you're changing. So this is assuming you have the ship and you have to stick all this on there. But let's say that you built a ship without armor and you only need to put armor on the ship. So what you do is you take out everything that you already have on the ship and you only leave the things up there that you need to stick on the ship. So just the 4 armor. So 4 armor is looking at 4 days and 20 hours if you have Master Engineer, or 5 days 9 hours if you don't. So that's how refit mode works. Refit's very interesting. And you can also see here in components, it's the same thing as what components are. It just removes the hull. And it'll also give you things where if the guy that wrote it is not 100% sure of what's going on, he'll let you know something up here. Like he knows that the reload bonus. So if you rank it up, you see that you have a reload bonus of 25, but these dreadnoughts already have a reload bonus in here. He has almost every special that in a ship that has a special in here, but there are a couple that don't, and he'll let you know what he doesn't have. So that's useful. So Shipyard 1 versus Shipyard 2, we did that. I don't have Shipyard 2, so that doesn't really apply to me. Fleet Captain, if you use it, I've only used it once. Dock levels, like for example, first base fleet. Like this is actually a decent little base fleet for somebody that's starting out. You get to a level 4 dock and you can do battle barges with Cutlass missiles 1s, engine 1, reactive armor 1. These are actually like the first 2 things you can research in the advanced lab. Some pretty low level armor gives you a gives you something. You have to outrun mortars, but there's a lot of early bases that don't have channels, so outrunning mortars is generally not a big deal. This is actually quite a good fleet for really low level bases. And then you can refit that into this for a level 6 dock. See how it's changing the dock levels? Before it was a level 4, now it's level 6. I think this will, yeah. See, it was level 4, now it's level 6. And this will cycle through prior designs. It might just be prior things that you pasted in here. So if you get to level 6 dock, you can switch 3 of them to level 2s and up your armor to titanium 3, and you can do a level 6 dock and have a the guns are slightly more powerful. The armor is a lot more. There's a lot more armor in a titanium 3 versus a titanium 1. So what I always like to do is look up in here what's going on. Like, for example, one thing I was trying to do was I was trying to get a scout ship, and this was for my own self. So I ranked up. I was like, well, I got engines 3. Okay, cool. I have a streamlining hull 3. Okay, cool. I have map speed. That's cool. And then we'll just stick some guns up there. I think I stuck A's because they have a really high accuracy. And then I stuck a Ripper up there, and then maybe another A. Yeah, that's what I built. So I have one battle barge just like this, and if the numbers are off, it's usually off because of rounding. In the game it says 84, in here it says 83, and it all has to do with the rounding. And if you have any real questions of it, a lot of times you can hover over different things and it tells you more about it, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff in here that you might not have known in the game. But it's from his trial and error of finding out how to set this up so it matches the game. There's a lot of, you hover over a lot of stuff, there's a lot of good things to learn about. Let's see what else is in here. Another very interesting thing to do in here is to really understand how your ships sit in the dock versus how do they actually come out. He actually labeled them with flagship, left wing, left leader, right leader, and so it's easy if we do it this way. Stick a gun up there so we don't get an error. Stick a gun up there. Let's do that one, and then let's do this one. Let's see what else. How about this gun? This guy. So, leader, and then it actually lays them out for you so you can see them. So you have the leader, and then you have the right leader, which is on this side, left leader. I never really paid much attention to which one of these was which. What I always want to know is which is the center one, which is the flagship. That was the easy one to know. Then I always knew that the second one and the last one were the ones on the outside. And then these two were the ones flanking the leader. So which is important, especially if you have mixed ships. Like, for example, for these events, if you have splashy sort of weapons, if you had a ship like this, you actually would do better if they were here and here, and this ship might have had, let's say you didn't have all siege cannons, you were in the process of upgrading. And it's probably a bad example because you won't be able to see the difference. Let's do it this way. So here we have our rippers in the center, and we have our splashing siege cannon S's on the perimeter. The perimeter ships are the ones that are going to be killing off most of the drones and the typhoons, right? So that helps you understand where do you need to stick stuff in ships. So that's a very useful thing too. I think that's about all I know. There might be some tips and tricks here and there, but that's basically what I use it for. If you're going to send people a link to your entire fleet, send it. Make sure you click on the fleet first, and then send them this. And you just copy it and paste it into wherever you're going. I just actually wrote up this for the video. I tend to just recreate ships over and over and over again, but it's probably a good idea just to show. Like for example, I help my mom design stuff, right? So this is going to be her first major siege fleet, or siege base fleet. She has a mortar floating fortress fleet, but it doesn't have any siege on it. So decent amount of armor, 3 siege missiles on all the ships. The only caveat is the last ship can't have 2 heavy armors, so it has an armor penalty. But all the rest of them are fine. So I think that's about all I know. Play with it. It's a really cool tool to play with different stuff. People ask me, well, how long is it going to take to build something? Look down here. How much is it going to cost? Look over here. The only thing that I don't like is if you want to coin a ship, these numbers are just for the speed up. They're not for an outright buy. That's about it. So, and pay attention to what's in here. This is going to tell you way more data than what the game actually tells you. So I hope y'all find this effective. I hope y'all find this tool useful. It's really neat. And if you really think it's awesome, you know, send the guy a couple bucks. So anyway, and I did not write this myself. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.